Hello, good morning, welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Anne, and disembodied voice, Justin, and also Kiri, who is refusing to settle down, and excuses for the lateness because we actually did have a Kiri emergency right before I was about to dial up Justin this morning, so I got 5 minutes of delay cleaning up after small dog. Not so small dog. David is not here. He is out working on the balcony this morning because he has an hour and a half of meetings, so he will not be able to join us this morning. Thank you for the resub, D. Clearman, the 17-month resub, which pwns everybody else's resub pretty much. Ah, dear. This is actually not a red dragon wormling smallish Sam. This is the Gemstone Dragon from Bones 5. I was the lucky dog who snagged the 3D print off of Ron, so I am going to play with it. We will play with it. I don't know, Val. I mean, he's doing pretty much almost exactly what you were doing. I mean, it's just what purple you're going to use. And you've got to remember that the saturation, how bright your purple is going to really strongly dictate what other colors you can use. Oh, yeah, purple and teal is standard. I mean, it's kind of it's almost a miniatures trope at this point. The cult of purple and teal is actually a miniatures trope. I kind of like your beige color, your buff color for the wing membranes idea better, just because it's not the trope and it's more natural. But that's me, and it's your succubus. You should do exactly what you want with it. Yeah. I'm going to go really weird with it, Barantor. Really weird. I decided, originally he was actually blue, ultramarine blue, and I was going to do purple and pink crystals. But then I did purple crystals on the rock troll, and so I decided we are no longer doing purple crystals on the dragon. Carinico, every once in a while it happens. I mean, Michael is at Reaper fairly frequently because at least before COVID, he traveled for work a lot, and it took him he's got family in Texas and everything. So Michael does tend to snag, awesome models. But while I was still at Reaper, every once in a while, the 3D prints would end up on the table that I was streaming on. And, because it would be there for for Reaper Bones 5 Live, or they would be there because Ed was talking about them on Reaper Live. And so every once in a while, that's how I snagged the ship's figurehead, pirate girl, and the Gemstone Dragon. That's good, Barantor. Yeah. Well, we're gonna do very different colors on this crystal. Actually, Miss Stimp, I am doing a greenish dragon with orange and yellow crystals. And the idea, I decided, was that I want to do more of an agate. It's not going to be a very bright dragon, except in pieces. I want to actually do this pretty muted. I want to do it almost like a Gemstone Forest Dragon, is what I'm thinking. And I decided on agate because I wanted to go more muted. There will be touches of bright. That's why I'm actually playing with... hey, Motor City Ray, how's it going? That's why I'm actually playing with a lot of Pathfinder greens here. But they're very muted greens, because I want to definitely have kind of an off yellow highlight. I was thinking of Osirian Sand because I've liked this color a lot and I haven't used it. Medusa Green is a little bit too olive, I think. I'm not certain because I really want to use... The brightest I want to get is like Cat's Eye or my new Leaf Bud. I maybe need to see what kind of color I get mixing my Medusa with, say, Leaf Bud. Because I want something a little brighter and less olivey than this. But I don't want anything as bright as these unless I'm glazing them in. We are not doing a green dragon. We are doing a Gemstone Dragon that has green, orange, and yellow on it. We are not sticking to any pattern. My idea is a Gemstone Forest Dragon, and I may actually add ferns to his base to just suggest that he's in like a jungle type of forest. But I want him to be a muted dragon, not bright. I'm going totally counter to what most people do with dragons, because I'm sick of bright dragons. Hey, Scrying Eye, thanks for the Prime sub. Awesome on the 8 months. Yes, indeedy. I don't necessarily agree, but I think that there's way too much of just painting a dragon one bright color. Like, I really get sick of that. And Gemstone Dragon is really made to do some more subtle stuff on. He's got so many different types of textures on him. From the wrinkly skin to the little chunks to the big chunks. He's got a lot of good stuff. Hey, Trouble and Coops, how's it going? I wasn't thinking Peridot. I was kind of thinking Moss Agate. Let me see. I was going to look up stuffs, but I didn't get time. I was actually looking at gemstones this morning. Let's see here. Pictures. Images. Trying to get my moss agate. Yeah, I guess they're more of a olivey green, a darker green. That's more of the shadows. I was actually thinking, but I wanted more of an agate, but not quite so dark. Yeah, so more olivey. That's a nice one there. That one's got all sorts of different stuff in it. More muted. I don't want malachite. Too bright. I'm not gonna, okay, just to make it clear to you guys, I am not patterning this after a real gemstone. I am painting it this color, and I'm not going to use, other than looking up that bit, I'm not going to use photo references. I know what crystals look like already. I already used a crystal reference for my rock troll, but okay, when you decide you're going to do peridot, or you decide you're going to do whatever, you tie yourself into using that, and you, like, maybe get too married to the idea. And I want to paint this artistically. I don't want to paint it like... I don't want to paint it, oh, I've got to stick to this picture. I really don't want to. I have a picture in my head of what I want it to look like, and I'm going to see if I can nail it. That's pretty much it. And moss agate was the closest thing I could get to because I know it has various shades of lighter and darker green, and mostly it's muted. But I want a forest gem dragon. And I don't care, like, about actual gem references. Malachite actually would be probably not very good because it's not very translucent, if I recall. And bloodstone is right out. I want my shadows to be that. I'm kind of assessing my colors here. I love the Medusa, but it's just not... It's not vibrant enough. Other colors you could use if you don't have Osirian sand probably would be, like, yellowed bone or creamy ivory. They're not as yellow, though. The Osirian sand has definitely a much more yellow punch to it. And I may also introduce a more yellow punch at some point, like my NMM gold highlight. But I haven't even decided. You guys are going to get to see me just, like, kind of wing this. Ha 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 ha. See what I did there? Surprised Justin didn't come in and, like, dock me DKP on that. Yeah, I just want to play. Like, this is the best way to go into a miniature sometimes. Just play. Just have fun. Who cares? Go. Get the image in your mind and just go for it. Yeah. No, I don't care. I mean, it's crystals, right? He's a gem dragon, but it's also crystals. So I can make them any color I want, because crystals are any color you want. Justin, yeah. I think Justin is at home today because of stuff this morning that caused him to have to deal with other things. So, various things and stuff. So let us see first what I can get if I, like, mix my leaf bud green, which is coming out with Bones 5, with my Medusa green, and see if I can get Medusa to play the way I want it to. Otherwise, I may lighten up the goblin green here by adding in a little bit of my Osirian sand and see if that nails the color I'm looking for. It might, actually. I'm not certain. That, my gut says that might be the way to go, but I'm gonna try my Medusa, because it's just, the problem with Medusa is just so gray. You have to brighten it. So 1 drop of leaf bud, or 2 drops. It's like a 1-to-1. I'm going to see what this turns into. And then I'm going to mix, oh, where's my mixing brush? That's right, I have a new synthetic mixing brush to ruin. I need to make sure to use it. Is that kind of what I wanted? So this is just what I was talking about, Val. When I was mentioning with your succubus idea that you were being inspired by Luca. But how muted or how bright you go influences everything else. So right now, this is actually okay. It's a delicate green. It's kind of what I was looking for. Nobody makes a green like this. Why doesn't Reaper make a green like this? Obviously, I need to put this down on my list of colors that needs to be created by Anne if I ever get allowed into the paint department again. I thought I had that list around here somewhere, but I'm not certain where I did it, or where I put it. So, oh well. But... so that's close, but let's try what I was thinking of also. Let's try the Goblin green from Pathfinder with a bit of the Osirian sand. Maybe these will end up with roughly the same color, and that would make me, that would kind of make me giggle. I think they might, actually. Now that I'm looking at them next to each other, I'm almost convinced. Yeah, that's just it, Dragon Eye. Like, I don't want to. I get a little irritated sometimes if people are suggesting, like, you know, like I should do it like this or that, a real world reference, and I'm just like, I don't want to do it like that. Just, you know, get your own dragon. All right, so this is a little bit different. It's just a slightly different. It's not quite as yellow. And I think I actually want the yellow. However, what this does tell me is that I'm probably going to be just fine going with that Medusa plus leaf. That's a little bit too... I need to add yellow to that to be happy with it. I like that one better. So we will use leaf. And if you don't have leaf, you could use pale green 9012. It would be close-ish. It would be more yellowy, but you know, I'm assuming nobody wants to try to copy my weird, like, totally all over the place dragon. I'm assuming you guys want to paint your own dragon. So, although I will tell you what colors I am using, and I do want to use Ancient Oak as the shadow here. I want it to go down to bluish colors. So we're using a combination of Bones and Pathfinder. I love Pathfinder's weird greens. For those of you on my Patreon, on the $5 tier, there is a handout not long ago on the Pathfinder weird greens and, like, what they're good for. I really like them. They really make you switch it up when you tend to reach for a lot of saturated greens. Hey, Rings, thanks for that resub. Everybody sees color a little bit differently, Mathfile, but these are very close, and different people see different ranges of color. This one is just a slight tad less yellow. So they're very, very similar, but if you look closely, this one is warmer. And that's going to matter, because I do want to take this up towards some yellowy hues. So if I want to pop that in there, that's more like it, because I don't want to lose that yellowy tone. I do want to bring up his belly yellowish. I want to have a lot of yellows on his head. I want the crystals to go up to a yellow, and I am going to use some stronger yellows. This is going to be interesting because we're going to start out more muted, but we are going to bring the crystals up slightly more saturated. So we're going to be playing with our saturation levels, and we may need to do glazes to make him look right at various times. This is going to be a complex project. I didn't want to do anything easy. Rock Troll is easy. Dragon can be uneasy. Also, I'm clipping the top of my head off, which is annoying. Hold on while I adjust my cam. I don't want to clip my head off for you guys. There we go. Much better. Correct. It looks duller because of that yellow difference, Mathophile. Actually, that's why you're seeing it as more dull. It's a little more gray, a little less warm. So you're perceiving it, but you're perceiving it in a different way, which is not surprising because, you know, everybody's got different... your rods and cones interact in slightly different ways from person to person. There's often a very slight difference in the way people perceive color from person to person. I'm still I'm annoyed by my camera. There we go. Much better. All right. Sagstorm asks about Pathfinder paints being different. They are built along... a lot of them are built along the Bones line side. I mean, I've talked about Pathfinder before. I like them a lot. Several of them are, despite being built with like along Bones tech, a lot of them actually are pretty transparent. They have a nice selection of purples and pinks that isn't really in any other paint line. And I like some of their weird off colors. Like I've wanted a color like Osirian Sand for a long time. And it's not a color that would necessarily sell great, but it's great for highlighting greens with and for other, you know, for desert sand and stuff like that, and for parchment colors. So it's just another kind of muted yellow to put in your toolbox if you don't want one that's brown. And sometimes I don't. Like in this case, I really don't. So, you know, and the greens, like I said, they have a very, very cool range of greens, of weird greens that are just a bit off. Like Medusa is one of my favorites, and then Goblin and Hodag. And these are all great for reptilian, like lizard men, troglodytes, you know, any of that sort of thing, snake people, if you don't want to go real saturated. Yeah, if you've got colorblind in this at all, there are different kinds of color blindness, but like some people have like a thing called your interference color blindness, where like if a color is mixed with another one, a friend of mine has yellow interference color blindness. So if yellow is mixed with any other color, he can't see it unless it's extremely saturated. So it looks gray to him. So to him, looking at these two different colors, this one would look very gray, and this one would look like it might even be more gray. It might just he might just see the differences in lightness or darkness. He looked at we found this out because we were talking about my dog, and he referred to him as how gray he was. And my dog was brown. And that's how we found it out. So it's like he was seeing any yellow mixed with something else as gray. Yeah, usually, TJ. I mean, colorblindness is, there's so many different kinds of colorblindness, though. So many. And I've known award-winning, like Golden Demon-winning miniature painters who are colorblind. There are more great painters who are colorblind than you think. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, just like everybody in chat is saying, math, everybody's vision is slightly different. So for me, I actually took the test to see if I had super color vision. You know, those people who can see actually a huge wide range of colors just because their eyes work really well. I'm not that good, but I do have really good, like, can incrementally see differences between colors vision. So, all right. I think we'll do that. That means Medusa and Leaf Bud. That means I might keep, I don't know if I want to keep Goblin around. I might go brighter. I'm going to see. I don't know. This is very interesting because I don't want to go too olivey. So I think Hodag and Goblin are out of it. I think. I'm going to put them back in the bag of greens for now. But I'm going to keep Cat's Eye around. Because Cat's Eye, for those, and I don't usually use this green. You know, I always use, what's its friend? Naga. I always use Naga. And they're very close. Where is my Naga green? Naga, where are you? You lying around here somewhere? He ran away. Naga ran away briefly. But usually, there he is, maybe. Yeah. So Naga's much more blue and dark, as you can see. I don't think I want to go quite here. But Naga mixed with Ancient Oak can be a nice mix, so I may go there. We'll see. But I may use Cat's Eye instead this time, because I want something a little bit more muted. Cat's Eye has a little bit more ochre in it, so it's not quite as bright, as saturated as Naga. But I'll keep Naga around. I might want it. I might also want... No, this could be way too bright. See, I just need to avoid... Oh, and there's the other one, Boggard. Boggard green is another weird Pathfinder green, which is really cool. Or warm, as the case may be. I kind of like that one almost better than Medusa. Oh well. We'll start and we'll see if we like it. If we don't like it, we'll paint it over. Yeah, Ancient Oak is a very grayed out blue-green. Very gray. But, It all depends. I mean, just, if you're curious, Mathfile, go read up on color blindness. There's lots of different types. Alrighty. I got shiny new reading glasses. They actually came in the mail, and so we are going to have different granny glasses today. These are not quite as granny. They're slightly bigger lenses, but they're still 3 times reading glasses. Yeah, TJ, what you might want to have as a painting buddy, you can kind of check your usage every once in a while, then to make sure your colors look good together, because you can really run the risk if you can't see differentiations and slight differences that you can choose 2 colors that don't look that great together, but you think they do. So, depends on how many muted colors. If you stick to bright colors, you probably won't have much of a problem, but... Yeah, exactly. So yeah, everybody sees color differently. That's the bottom line. So if somebody really thinks your color scheme looks weird, but you think it looks great, you could ask yourself if one or the other of you has a slight difference in color vision that might be leading to that. Alrighty, let's mix up a big puddle of this. Let's go with our Medusa. I don't mind having some agate colors here. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to mix up a really big puddle of it. And again, this is Leaf Bud Green. It's from my awesome triad that everybody needs to order for Bones 5. If you haven't gotten the new paint colors in Bones 5, go online and order them right now. Get them on your pledge. I will never forgive you otherwise. Because you also get Orchid Purple with the Leaf Bud Green and the Lotus Orange, all of which are beautiful colors. And I might use some of the Lotus Orange on these gems. Actually, that's a great idea. Where are my oranges? I'm taking out all of the colors I don't normally use. Should tell you guys that this color scheme is very different from anything else. So Lotus Orange is that pretty color. It might be a little too pink. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. It might be okay. Neon red glow is not orange enough. Yeah, this might be the answer if I'm glazing with it. We'll see. So that's kind of our range of colors. This is what we're looking at. We'll be toning this one down a bit, but we do have some brighter colors. So if I look at our vibrant colors together, they look pretty okay. This one will probably need a little toning down. I will probably mix it with a little bit of that or just glaze with it. So I'm looking for a slightly desaturated paint color scheme. Kind of interested to throw a drop of cat's eye into this. Like I said, I'm trying to create a green that we don't have. This is actually how Leaf Bud Green got created, by the way. Is Anne going, I need this green, I don't have it. And I sat there just mixing colors together until I got exactly the green I wanted because I was painting a particular model and I had a specific color in mind for her dress. That's good. Yeah, we can do that. We can do a touch of cat's eye on that. And I didn't have that green. And so I made it. This is how new colors are born, when Anne has a specific idea of a color in her head. And notice I'm remembering I'm good, guys. I'm using my crappy Taklon mixing brush. My new crappy Taklon mixing brush. I'll have to get another one once I wreck this one, but it'll be a while. There we go. All right, so let's get our base coat brush. And maybe I'll use a gigantic brush. I grabbed all my artist brushes the other day, actually. But in order to do this, I think maybe I want to wet blend a little bit. Let's do that. Let's make some pretty color transitions. So then let's mix up some of our other colors. So we've got our NMM Gold highlight, which is as yellow as probably we want to get. Although again, for the gemstones, I may come in and add more saturation. Hey, Magnetic Gumby, thanks for that resub. Val, you save so much money on the paint set. I would advise you to just go and toss in a $1 pledge and buy the paint set. I mean, the old price I know was like 18 bucks for 12 paints, which is ridiculously cheap. And you can always do a $1 pledge and just add a single add-on. Just mixing a little bit of my NMM into my Lotus. That takes it down just a tad. I like that. All right, so these colors, yeah. And if I take it down just a little more, now these are pretty okay. Okay, that's still a little saturated, but I'm only going to be using that in touches, so that's all right. Remember, you can go with a very saturated color next to muted colors if you use it in very small amounts, or if you mute it down a little bit. There is no opaque true magenta rings. You are being deceived. Magenta, by its very nature, is quinacridone, and by its very nature has a very low pigment grind, and that means that getting an opaque magenta is a unicorn. If there's somebody out there doing one, I want to know who. But chemically, I suppose you could make a high solids or high density pigment version. But even then, in my experience working with high solids pigments, no, you don't have to get the Corval. There should be a $1 pledge option and just add add-ons. Go check me on that though. Because, you know, I'm not actively working on the Kickstarter, so, but that used to be how we did it. You didn't have to get a core set. A lot of people in past Kickstarters have just done the $1 and then gotten the specific add-ons they want. In fact, I believe that's what I'm doing, because I don't want the core. I want very specific pieces. Yeah. Yep. Just buy add-ons with just the $1. Yep. Yeah, everybody needs that unicorn ring. So that's the thing, right? Is there's colors that are physically impossible at this time. They will become physically possible when somebody accidentally does a chemical experiment and it results in a new color of magenta being created, and then they decide to market it as a colorant, assuming its properties are in line with what we would need in a colorant. That's how new pigments get created, is chemical experiments that create a color unexpectedly, and the people doing them go, oh, we could market this in an entirely different market as a colorant, assuming, as like I said, that it works chemically that way. But there is no, that's why you don't get a solid color yellow, other than cadmium, right? You have to go to a toxic pigment to get a high coverage yellow. But magenta has always been, one, extremely fugitive. They have managed to make more light fast magentas now. They're still not awesome, but they don't like fade at the touch of sunlight like they used to. But yeah, you have to, it's the chemistry of the thing. There are things you cannot have. You cannot have a high coverage paint that thins really well. Physically, right now. It's just physics. It just doesn't work. You can have what you have with Master Series, where you have to put on a couple coats and it's pretty good, and you can thin it and it's brilliant. Or you can have like the thicker stuff, like Scale 75 or whatever, or GW base coating, where it covers great, and then try to thin it and it's a real pain in the butt to thin. You're gonna have one or the other. I just type in Kickstarter Bones 5, or go to Kickstarter.com and type Bones 5 into Explore. But Justin might have one. Justin, do you have a Bones 5 Kickstarter link that you could toss in? I'm gonna put in Ancient Oak. These are my main colors. I do need to shake them up.
Yeah, give me just 1 second.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Jelly's got it. They're just, every pigment has physical properties that you just can't go out and magically wave a wand over and change. You can work on getting a higher coverage version, which is how we got our high density pigments that we used with HD and later Bones. So those are synthetic organic pigments that are made to essentially be clumpier and block light better. And they have downsides as well, though. There's always a downside. It's all usage based. I'll go for transparency any day of the week over opacity. Opacity has a limited usage in my opinion. And if I do need opacity, I just use white to give me the opacity and paint over it. A lot like oil painters or, other like classical painters will do. Yeah, honestly, I think the paint is a real no-brainer. If you like the colors that I'm using, if you like that, here's this triad. It's a beautiful triad. So this is the Orchid Purple, Lotus Orange, and Leaf Bud Green. These are prototype bottles, but this is one of the triads, and then the other one is the Black Indigo with the Rich Indigo and the Wild Violet. Like, why would you turn that down? And then you've got the new Clear Brights, the Yellow Oxide and the Brown and the Red. Which are, again, like Clear Brights that we really haven't made available before. And then what is the last one? Crap, I've forgotten. But I'm sure it's awesome because I made it. Oh, it's the Bruised Purples, right. So Proctor's going to be super happy. So we're making those come back. But, I mean, just those first 3 triads alone, when it's $18, when normally it's over $3 a bottle and you're getting 12 colors, like $18 instead of 36, that's 50% off. Like, and if you're already if you already have $1 in, why would you not? If you like these colors, which I'm just partial to these colors, I guess. I gotta put the purple away though, or I'm gonna want to use it, cause purple. And I'm trying to not do purple this time. But yeah, so for me, at least, and given I'm a painter, but the paint is just a no-brainer for me. All right, and I'm going to put this Osirian Sand up here also in this upper thing. But that gives us kind of our base color palette. Now, I may go to a bluer color to shade this Ancient Oak. Like, I may go to Blue Liner or Black Indigo, but we'll see. But so far, ignoring this middle one. Let's see, I want a little bit more thinning in that. I want a little bit more thinning in that. That's my base color. Where's my crappy brush? There it is. But yeah, so this palette, I almost want to just scrape the paint out of this one because I'm not going to use this green. Or I can just put some, I suppose I can put some black or something in it and totally destroy it. Let's destroy it! Yeah, the 2004 colors. Well, a lot, honestly, in our, the line has changed so much because those old bases went out of print when we lost that. A lot of those were canceled, but that was before we could control that. I'm just going to throw some blue liner into the screen and make a blue color in case I need it. Or, sorry, it's Nightmare Black, not blue liner. I'll talk about this. I'm almost done with that PDF for the $5 here. A little bit behind still on this month for my Kickstarter or my Patreon because of ReaperCon, and that first week really set me back a week. A week all along the line, so. You need a tutoring session for ordering Kickstarter. No, sales department, that's an old thing. When I started making Master Series, I didn't need really, I realized that along the line there that I didn't really need to add a gunk mixture anymore. Because Flow Improver is added straight to Master Series, and I no longer wanted to use Slow Dry because, drying retarders will seriously affect both the finish and the adhesion of your paint. So I decided I didn't need the slow dry, especially when I started using this palette. Like, it all kind of organically came together. When you're using a palette with smaller wells and you're mixing up bigger puddles of paint, the paint stays at a good consistency. It doesn't dry super fast. And so as opposed to when I was using bigger wells where it did dry and I felt like I needed that addition of a tiny bit of slow dry. But now, between the fact that chemically I appreciate what it does and I don't want that, and the fact that I've got Flow Improver in these paints, and the fact that I use this palette that lets my paint stay wet longer, I don't use that mix anymore. All I do is add water. And if I'm doing super detail, I might add, I've got a couple bottles that aren't water, but that are Reaper Flow Improver in water. But I don't add very much extra Flow Improver. You love the color theory lessons. I missed it, Jelly, because I was trying to figure out my colors here. I missed your original, so humble. Yeah, well, I can be proud of my paint stuff. I can be proud of it. I'm gonna forgive myself for being a little bit like, like proud of my paint stuff. All right, let's see here. Do I want to mess up my Taklon? The problem with white Taklon is they look so beautiful before you use them, and then you use them and they immediately go south. They immediately take on the color because some, pigments are permeable that way. And they immediately look gross after you use them. So I love whipping out a fresh white Taklon, and then, then I get so disappointed. I've noticed some extra little primer grains on my gemstones here. We can't have that. And I have a little bit of roughness down there. I'll have to clean that up. But maybe not right now. So we're mostly going to be working on his head. So I had to do some green work on his wing because I had a break happen. The problem with 3D prints, in my opinion, is that compared to regular bones, is that they do break. They are very brittle. So they are prone to breakage if you sadly drop them on your floor, which accidentally does happen at various times for Anne. Some days I am just a fumble fingers. I'm just going to scrape off some of this texture. There we go. We got a little bit better. Yeah, there we go. All right. Sorry that was bothering me. Had to deal with it. Anal, miniature painter, goes hand in hand. Let's see here. Cool further down or cool farther up? I think cool further down. That's a really warm green when I get it on him. Wow. So that right away looks much over the white primer, because I definitely want a white primer on this, guys, because I'm going for, some level of like vibrancy. I don't want my colors to go dark because I'm doing gemstones, essentially, is what it comes down to. But wow, that green looks a lot brighter when I pop it on there. So now I really do want to kind of throw some Osirian sand over it, and let's get in focus here. We are not focused. We're focused on the palette and on the dragon. This is a mistake. Let's see if I can get it to focus right. Yeah, that's good. We'll pop our palette out of frame. We'll get ourselves zoomed in. There we go, much better. This is the Gemstone Dragon from Bones 5, yeah. I have the 3D print. Let me see. So then I want to take this and I want to go even lighter. See how we can, like, wet blend. And going lighter with his face, I like the idea of, because it draws the eye. So lighter and brighter. I'm just kind of playing now. I kind of want to play. I'm not getting a real solid base coat here. Because my colors are kind of thinned. But that's all right, because I've got lots of room to glaze. So I'd start this thin. This is actually, some of these base coat colors are really, really thinned down, like almost a 2-to-1, which is far thinner than you usually want your base coats. And the reason is that sometimes I just want to build things up in glazes. Let's see here. Let's take a little bit of our ancient oak mixed with other stuff. And I can use the edge of this brush to kind of get this edgy part of him. Introduce some of that dark bluish green from the ancient oak, which might be my lowest blue. I might use that Nightmare Black mixture that I made. And I might not, but I knew I wanted some dark. I used white primer. But yeah, it's not, I prime all the time, Mathophile. All the metal models you see me paint are primed. This is not a Bones. This is a 3D printed copy. It definitely needs primer. You don't paint right over that stuff. Yeah, when I say this is a prototype, I mean this is an original 3D print. Possibly the first 3D print we ever did of this model. See, I like that. I like that. Good. Yeah. Yeah, it's a resin print. So, essentially, you will only see me prime appropriately. I believe that primer is a bad thing for bones, so you will never see me prime a Reaper bones. That is my own belief. Everybody can argue with me till the cows come home. Don't care. Not going to prime my Reaper bones. The one time that I have had bad experiences, and I've seen too many other people. Like, some people seem to get away with it using specific primers, like Stynylrez, but I don't use those because I don't airbrush. So, for me, it's just easier not to prime. I never have problems. But, so you'll never see me prime a Bones model ever. But, a lot of these early prototype models are, in fact, 3D resin prints. Or just 3D prints. I don't even know that it's resin. I don't know that we did this one on the resin printer. So I'm going to put some dark eyelids on him. Give him mascara. He's going to have mascara. For now. We can always come back in and change it. But I want those eyes to stand out. And since I'm going a little bit lighter right now. And normally, if you guys remember, I'd block in eyes with like brown liner or walnut or something. But since I'm doing this guy in greens and we really haven't introduced any browns, my darkest color right now is the ancient oak. So I'm going to use that. It looks black on camera, but it's not. No, because this is Bones 5, we don't have actual we don't have actual copies on hand. Those haven't come from China yet, Mathophile. Anything we've got is either the original 3D print or a resin based off of it. Yeah, when I have Bones 4 stuff, then you know it's actual Bones. But otherwise, kind of like that pale orange that I'm working up to up there, but I think I need more green. And I do want to add in some more complex areas of green too. Right now he's quite pale. I'm going to bring in some of my mixture up on top of his head. So we're almost painting this model like a watercolor. Like, you know, if you think about it, we're trying to kind of preserve our lights. And we're being very careful about how we add in darks. So I will not totally say this, but I will somewhat say that watching a 2D artist on Twitch over the weekend may have influenced me in my choices here. But mostly what I want is I want kind of a pretty, almost a beautiful transparency and lightness to this figure. I don't want him to look heavy. And so I'm going to be real careful about how I put in shadows. And I'm going to try to be have a pretty light hand with it. I really want to capture some of the pale, like delicate colors. I really want delicate colors on this. This is the Gem Dragon, yes. Gemstone Dragon Bones 5. This is the original 3D print. I really don't think it's even a resin print. I don't know if we had a resin printer at that time. I mean, it could be. It's all the same to me. I just prime it and paint on it. Oops. We got some extra blue in that. Boop, 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 boop. Our Nightmare Black must have snuck over. So we're just like kind of messing around. So I have been doing a lot more artsy stuff lately, guys. Oh, hey, we got Raiders. Thanks, Hannah. Cool. Awesome. Welcome. I'm Anne. I work for Reaper Miniatures. I used to make the paint line for about 17 years. And then I moved out here to Cali to be with my guy, and now I do Reaper's Twitch streaming, and we do painting streams every morning from 11:30 a.m. Central Time, USA Central Time, till about 1 p.m. Today I'm working on the Gemstone Dragon, which is a Reaper model that is not released yet. It's from our Bones 5 Kickstarter. And I really like him. I wanted to start a new mini today. Normally I paint different things throughout the week, but we've got a number of models that we're working on slowly toward finishing. And so I decided I wanted to play with Gemstone Dragon today. And I wanted to do really an unusual color scheme on him. I didn't want to do something standard dragon. So I thought I would do him like a forest dragon with gemstones. So like a crystalline forest dragon. So he's going to be green. But it's not a standard emeraldy green. It's more natural. And I'm going to use orange and yellow crystals. And the challenge will be to make the crystals like a little bit more saturated, but not have them clash. Yeah, Nightmare Black is a very useful color, Hannah. You're right. Well, remember this has been cleaned, though, sales. Like, after they print them, they clean them. They clean them before they go onto reaperlive, for sure. I mean, you could do it, Coos. You just have to make sure the colors that you use don't clash with each other or with the body of the dragon. It's the Tiamat problem. That's what we're going to call it, guys. The Tiamat problem. Where you've got all those 5 different dragon colored heads, and then you might also make the body of the dragon a different color. That is the thing. To get those things to work together... Whoop! I got put Justin out of my ear. And not clash, you've got to make sure that your colors line up from the beginning. So actually, let's show some of our new raiders. Let's back out and show you the Gemstone Dragon. So he's really cool. He's up on this rock. He's got all these great crystals coming out here. And he's got a leathery hide. He's just really cool. So we'll back out and we'll go back in so we can get close to his head. Yes, On the Road to Tiamat will tell you it's a real problem. Oh, do we have a currency issue? Okay, you guys are helping. Good, good, good. I mean, the problem with transitioning stuff like a rainbow is that then it looks like a rainbow. You're going to get the Rainbow Lich of Doom problem if you just put too many bright colors all on the same level on the same model, okay? So the Tiamat problem saves you from this somewhat because you really are only using red, blue, green. Everything else is black and white. So where you get into problems is if you start to go with other primary colors mixed into that. Then you get the Rainbow Lich of Doom problem. You can have too many bright colors on a model. And what's important is the distribution of colors at that point. Like, how much area does each color take up? And also, are the colors muted or are they bright? You can get away with a lot if you can get away with every color on the spectrum if you are using some of those colors as shaders and highlighters and not as principal colors themselves. Ben Comets did this a couple years ago for a Crystal Brush entry. He actually used, I think, every color in the rainbow on a model, but his principal colors were, like, every color was not a principal color. Some colors were shading, other colors are highlighting them. I call it the Rainbow Lich of Doom because I knew somebody who actually painted one back when I was in college and worked at a game store. I believe it was actually tie-dyed, but it does present the problem of, you know, if you've gone there and you may not have wanted to go there. People who try to put too many colors on a model end up with Rainbow Lich of Doom models, where they just don't know where they're going. And things tend to look really garish. Actually, the painter I was watching this weekend was quoting James Gurney, and James Gurney's favorite, one of his sayings is, you can't ever go garish. Like, people will forgive you for muting your colors a little bit too much, but they will never forgive you for garish. So, try not to be garish, guys. Try not to be that painter. I mean, if it's a joke, then sure. But seriously. So now I'm going to shade. I'm using my Ancient Oak and I'm mixing it into my green. My green is a mixture of a couple different colors because I wanted to just nail the green I wanted. And that means that normally I'd make a gallon of this stuff and it'd come out later in a Kickstarter. But since I'm not at Reaper anymore, I'll have to tell Sadie to mix it for me. along with the other colors we were talking about that we need to make. Still don't know where I stuck that sticky note, but it's around here. Don't worry. Don't worry. So, yeah, there we go. So these are the colors I'm using. One of them is Bones, one of them is Pathfinder, and the other one is yet to be released in Bones 5, Leaf Bud Green. I like Leaf Bud Green, obviously, since I want a foresty feel for him. It works. And then I'm using, for my shadow, I'm using Ancient Oak. For my highlights, I'm either using NMM Gold Highlight or another Pathfinder color, Osirian Sand, which is a pale yellow sandy color that I really like, that I think works well to highlight these colors. Actually, that she did do a tie-dyed lich, yes, Shadow Raven. The lich robe was tie-dyed. She was trying to be directly, ridiculous, however. Like, I think her husband had asked her to paint a lich for his D&D game, and she was sick of painting models for him. So this was her paint it yourself, or deal with the tie-dyed lich. What, the primer? Oh, Shadow Raven. Did I miss the Shadow Raven question? Or are you joking that we needed a tie-dye climber or a primer? Everything that's not brown just clashes with the heads. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do dark brown or black for Tiamat's body. It makes sense to go brown with her, though, Margaret, because when you mix together various hues, they do make brown. So you could go with a complex brown if you wanted. Like, you could go with a very complex brown with those other colors mixed in for her body. I might do that when I eventually paint mine. I think traditionally her body is done as black. I think when Keith Parkinson painted her for Dragonlance, I believe that he made the body either a dark brown or black to offset the heads. It's going neutral is the safest option. So we're going to line the mouth to bring that mouth out. And I'm going to darken in the teeth as well. I haven't decided what color the teeth are going to be. If I'm going to try to do them still as foresty colors, or I want to do them browner, if I want to do them like traditional bone. I originally was thinking that Mr. Dragon would be more traditional bone. Like, I kind of wanted him to be like a turtle, or a snail, where he's wearing a shell of gems, but he's still a real dragon. He's still an organic real dragon underneath, right? So I do want to paint his wings, with flesh tones. And I was thinking about putting some around his muzzle, too. You know what I have? I have Old West Rose. Oh, no, now we're getting into color trouble. We're adding an accent color. Look out. I'm just using Ancient Oak, Clueless. It's actually not a liner. It's not really dark enough to be a liner, but because all my colors are really pale right now, Ancient Oak works pretty well. I also made a mixture of kind of like something similar to my base green with a little bit of Nightmare Black, which is a blue-black or black-blue. And that I could use more like a liner. It's much darker. So there's the Ancient Oak, and there's the mixture of Nightmare Black with some of this kind of green. It kind of makes a really dark blue teal. I'm curious, though, as to how my Old West Rose would work on the tip of his muzzle. So we're going to try. It should work fine, because it's a muted pink, and it's a complement to his current color. Maybe I'll mix some of it in with my Lotus Blossom Orange and see if that shifts it in a way I like. That darkens down my Lotus Blossom Orange. I don't like it. All right. Well, I did it, but that means I can't use it. Now I'll have to have a new puddle of Lotus Blossom Orange. I should have used a lighter pink with less black in it and less brown. But we'll see how this does. I might like it, I might not. I was originally thinking more flesh tone for his muzzle. But this might be an okay starting point. So I want the horn to stay more carapace. But I don't mind putting some pink around the nostrils and on the gums here. Just add in some subtle variation on Mr. Dragon. And also a hint of being more organic. kind of like doing this sort of thing. It's not very expected on dragons. You always expect all the scalies, but I thought this might be fun. Let's see how it works. A little bit of pink around his muzzle. Yeah, Gemstone Dragon is in Bones 5. Sorry, Chav. Yeah, he's the Gemstone Dragon from Bones 5 Kickstarter from Reaper. It's not fulfilled yet, but I have the preview print, the 3D print. And I have had it for a while. I've just been thinking about how to paint him. So I thought that I would start him. I've been kind of restless about my my models I've been painting on stream lately. I've been thinking I wanted to start something new to work into the rotation. And we aren't currently painting a dragon otherwise. So I thought this would be a good one. So I kind of want him to be a very unusual dragon. He's not going to be standard. Yeah, he is a fantastic deal at $6. All right, I need a little bit more darkness on the underside of my jaw. I need a shadow here. Bringing in a shadow on the side of the face. We probably want to add a little bit of shadow. So I'll kind of mix my base green with my ancient oak. See if I like that color. To shade underneath this. I might need to get a brush that's a little bit sharper. Chav, I already decided on my color scheme. I'm doing him kind of like an autumn forest dragon, but a crystal forest dragon. So the gemstones are going to be orange and yellow. And the body of the dragon is mostly green. I need a different brush. Where is my other brush? Brush. There it is. Ah! Time for the Raphael. Because I'm doing details now. Starting to get some details. But yeah, all these crystals are going to be actual painted like crystals. So they'll be done like, I don't know if you've seen my stuff before, Rock Hunter, but this is a troll that we're working on. So like this big crystal here, we'll be doing the gems on Gemstone Dragon like that, only in orange and yellow. Decided I was going to do purple and pink on this. I was going to do a blue dragon with purple and pink crystals on this guy, but then I decided I was not all about it because we were already doing purple crystals on Rock Troll. So I decided I want to do it different. And these have gone up. The gums have gone up a little bit too far. I just want a little bit of that pink, a little bit of that fleshiness around the mouth and the nostril. I mean, what the Forster's favorites are with the Kickstarter are some colors that I like to use that aren't necessarily on most people's popular list, but that I think are very useful to myself. So that's how I chose the Forster's favorites. It's kind of like off the beaten path colors that I get mileage out of that people may otherwise not be that cognizant about. Mixing some of my Osirian sand into my Old West Rose. I want a little lighter. Yeah, Chav, when I go into a model, it's extremely rare that I don't have an idea for how I want it to look. Like color, it's not like my boyfriend, when he goes in, the first thing he's thinking about is lighting, and color is the second thing he thinks about. When I go into a project, color is the absolute first thing I'm thinking about. So if I don't have a strong color scheme for a model, it never gets off the ground. I at least need to have a solid color scheme for a large part of it, for a main part of it. Like my Rocket Girl bust that I'm working on for myself right now. I got her head, her skin tones done. There's the bust that I'm working on. But I wanted to really nail, like I knew what color I wanted the skin tones to be, and I wanted to nail the lighting and everything. So I'm painting her more like she's in oils, as far as the way the paint, and actually this is a good contrast thing, guys. She was painted a lot like I was working with oils, and because of the heavy application of hues, she looks like almost she is, and he's being painted more like a watercolor piece. So this what makes acrylic, in my mind, really different, what you can do. Yeah, she's huge. Rocket Girl is huge. She's, her name is Siggy. She's from, Mr. Lee's Miniatures. And I love her. She reminds me of Farah from Overwatch, so that's what the orange is coming in as. And there's going to be the violet. There's actually going to be white. And then around the collar here and the chest is actually going to be like probably a dark blue to teal fade. Not that much TJ. I mean, I did do a strong Zenith Prime. You can see it on the head. You can see kind of the remains of the Prime on the front, right? See that? But that was mostly just to keep me on track, and a lot of this, yeah, I did underpaint a bit just to make it, but then I had to preserve that underpainting as I worked all this, because I worked pretty thick paint over her, which is why you're getting this. Also, guys, she is not painted with Reaper. Gasp. Except for the orange that had a little bit of Lantern Yellow added in. She is painted with Scale 75 Artist tube paint, which is partially why you're getting that style. So as she progresses, she'll show up here and there on stream, just to show you guys what I'm doing with. I wanted to, I bought the Scale 75 Artist line when it came out, and I actually just ordered a few more. And I'm trying to play with them because I find that I do like to know what other lines are doing, you know, what other paint manufacturers are doing. So usually I will pick up a few paints if a new line comes out from somebody. Like I own some of the stuff that Creature Caster put out for their new line, for example, so I could kind of get a feel for it. What does it do well? You know, I like to keep an eye on what the industry is doing. But I really like the Scale 75 Artist, and maybe it is that I come from a 2D background, so tube paints hold no fear for me. But it was kind of cool to paint like that again. I think Scale 75, oh, liking their brush cleaner, huh? Interesting. Well, I don't like the Masters Too Much Coffee. I'm a fan of Winsor Newton brush cleaner and restorer. I've always used it. Double useful because you can get paint out of your clothes with it. But I'll try, now that I've heard that, I'll try their brush cleaner. Interesting. Yeah, the thing that Scale 75 does that's really nice, just in my experience, because they have really improved their paint line over the years since they first put the first one out. And they're really interested, honestly, in listening to criticism and improving their product. Like, even if they can't, like, necessarily change one item, when they put out a new line, they will, you know, kind of respond to criticism on a previous line, for example, sometimes. Like, I know their baseline, I'm not that big a fan because it tends to be dead matte. At least all the bottles that I ever used were really dead matte. And that they listened to that criticism from people. And so when the tube paint came out, it was not dead matte. It actually has a finish that's perfectly matches Master Series, which I love. So, yeah, if I were if somebody kicked me in the teeth and said, you can no longer use Reaper Master Series, I would just switch over to Scale 75. As that would say, but it's my second favorite line. Can't help but love the line that I made. Obviously, I made it for people like me who use my sort of painting style, and to put something different out on the market because so many other companies were going just for coverage. But that always dissatisfies me because I like to paint with thinned down paint. Yeah, I'm enjoying being having come from that 2D background. I am really enjoying working with colors like red oxide and burnt sienna and burnt umber again. I will say if you only pick up like a couple of colors from the Scale 75 tube paints, I would say I love the red oxide and the burnt umber the best. The ultramarine's nice too, but it's not so different from Master Series ultramarine. I was trying on purpose at first to pick up paints specifically from that line that had pigments I couldn't find otherwise, except in artist tube paints. Alright, so I'm actually going to come in and put more green in there. I don't mind if I get a little pink in there. Alright, so I've got him a little fleshy around the mouth. I like that. I'm going to actually grab, I think I do need to get a little brown around his mouth for those teeth. Let's see, do I want to use rich leather or something darker? I probably need to make them kind of stand out. Let's use russet brown with Osiris sand. So russet brown is our answer for burnt umber. It's $91.99. Boop, russet brown. And we're going to mix it with a little bit of our Osirian sand to make teeth. Yeah, I actually really like MSP for 2D art, Quindy, because they're smooth, right? Who was I listening to? Oh, it was actually the artist that I was watching, and he was saying how the problems with acrylics, and all the problems that he mentioned with acrylic paint were things that we've solved as miniature painters in our paint lines, and so I really badly wished that I knew him well enough to say, you should try. You know, but sometimes when you're new to a streamer, they don't know you yet. You know, you don't want to come off as, you know, muscling your way into their stream or promoting. So I held off, but if I continue to watch him, because that is really, they don't understand. They don't know, right? They're not miniature painters, lots of them. So they don't understand how far acrylics have come in hobby markets. It's not folk art anymore. There's some really high quality stuff that we make. All right, so Syrian sand and russet brown. I just want to add some brown to these teeth. Paint them in a brown. He does not have very clean teeth. He probably does clean them on, you know, tree trunks. They probably are chew toys for him. Yeah, Korniko, that's exactly it. Japanese maple. I love Japanese maple so much. I used to do a bonsai, but all my trees died because Texas. I could not keep Japanese maples alive through the summer in Texas. They were fine in the winter and the spring. They were fine if I bought them in the fall. They died like dogs in the summer. Poor things. Even when I put them in shade. So, all right, let's get our brown down here. So I made a very pretty brown, and it's somewhat saturated, so it kind of works with our color scheme as it stands. And the nice thing about having all these colors open, even though I'm, you know, I could just sit and work on the greens all over this dragon, but the nice thing about working out all these colors now is I've got them all open here. So as I switch back and forth to different parts of the dragon up here, as I work out whether this color scheme is going to work, I can, you know, I've got kind of a nice direct comparison here as far as do these colors harmonize? And the answer is pretty much yes. So let's grab our tooth color. I need to add a drop of water to it. So that's russet brown plus Osirian sand. It's probably a 50-50. I really like this color, actually. Kind of a paler brown sand. Has a little warmth to it because of the yellow behind both paints, even though there's a lot of white from the Osirian sand. Yeah, Quindy. Oh, our cat's murder bonsai. That's too sad. Yeah, I am actually, now that I am in Northern California, I am in the perfect climate for Japanese maples, and I pass a ton of them on my walks every day. So I did get David to agree that one of our plants, one of his big patio plants is dying, and I'm like, I need to replace this with a Japanese maple. And he's like, get whatever you like. I'm permitted to because I have taken over watering the plants, because I like plants, he's pretty much like, yeah, well, you know, kill what you don't like and we'll replace it with things that you do like. Although I doubt I'll be able to kill his cactus, and I don't want to. It's a nice cactus. But one of his plants has definitely, like, suffered. And I think it needs to be replaced by a very pretty bonsai tree. Or at least a potted Japanese maple of some sort. Because finally, I'm in a climate where they don't just die. No, not in the Central Valley, which is hotter. Yep, I hear Sacramento gets very hot, for example, in the summer. But I'm out here, where we're only 40 minutes from the ocean, in the South Bay, and the climate here is very nice. So that's an understatement, because they totally cheat out here. I've said this before on stream, like, Northern California absolutely cheats with climate. Like, I don't know who they paid off in, like, the great, like, cosmos to get the perfect climate, but they did. The only downside that I have found yet is forest fire season. And also I miss the rain. But then I miss the rain in summer in Texas too, so. Although lately it's been rainier in Texas. A lot rainier than it ever was in summer before. So I'm going to take the Osirian Sand because it's a good bone color. Just highlight his teeths a little. Teeths. Those teeths in there. Leaving a little bit of brown at the root. I like that song, Quindy. Yeah, exactly. There's upsides and downsides. I mean, I really like warm weather, so I do say they got some warm stuff this year here. It got over 100 a couple days. Yesterday was perfect, 88. We went to the pool. We reserved the hot tub for an hour. It was nice just to hang out and veg by a pool. All right, so we've got our teeth figured out, mostly blocked in. I feel like I want a little bit more of a stronger green at this point. So I'm going to grab my cat's eye. This is a little vibrant, so I just want to use touches of it. The rule here is if we're going to use a brighter color, we need to keep it under control and not go too crazy. Even if we want to. Because our base scheme is muted. Now we can get away with this if we use this as, say, a shadow or a highlight. Like you can sneak brighter colors into your work in a lot of different ways. Like right now, if you look at this, it's garish and awful. Garish, awful. Does not harmonize with the rest of the palette at all. But what I'm going to do is glaze it over this green to intensify it a little bit. So, since I'm not using this color straight, I'm just using it to tweak a color. And only in some small places. Oh, I've got a dog here. There we go. It won't go too crazy. Let's get these guys out of the way. So I'm going to try it. Because I do want, since I want to go a little more saturated with my oranges, I do want to get a little bit more saturated green in here some places. So I'm going to mostly use it in the shadows. Because it's a little bit of a darker green. And because it's thinner, it's not going to be as bright because I'm putting it over a very muted green. But it's going to see how it's adding more touches, more vibrant touches to that. And now I want, I might want to go some more blue under this jaw shadow. I'll have to see. I'm going to actually bring this in down there. Make it a little warmer in the shadows. Oh, cat's eye green is a bones color. It's actually a green I never use, which is why I'm using it. I am switching up my my modus operandi today to use colors that I don't normally use, with the exception of the NMM Gold Highlight, which snuck in as a viable yellow. But yeah, I mean, and I guess I've used Ancient Oak before, but it's a little bit different color scheme today. Just trying to get. Let's see here. But cat's eye, I don't want to use a green like Naga, because Naga is very vibrant. I am feeling like I want a little bit more shadow down there under his eyelid. I could. You know, Matthew, I'm back and forth on this. I'm actually playing a little bit with warmer highlights in this if you look at it. I mean, the Ancient Oak is cooler, but I'm glazing some cat's eye over it, and I'm bringing up more of my olive into it. So my highlights, although they are cooler than this yellow-green, they're still pretty warm as far as actual highlights. Part of me wants to go bluish with them, but that's what I usually do, and I'm trying to make myself explore warm highlights or warm shadows a little bit more. When a model or when a figure is out in sunlight, you get a lot of reflected warm in the shadows. I just want to bring out that eyelid. I'm tempted to make these eyelids kind of pinky. I don't know that I like that though. Kind of playing around with colors here, and I may not like a lot of this pink up here. I liked it a little bit more around the nose, but I may block a lot of it out. Just leave little bits. Got a little bit too pink. I do this a lot. If I decide that if I'm playing, I may decide that I don't want as strong of a color. I'll just paint over it. This is the beauty of acrylics. You don't have to wipe it off like you do with oils. You aren't stuck like you are with watercolors. There. Then I leave a little bit of pink around his mouth. That's just subtle. I like that better. I like that a lot better. And this part of the dragon is all, for me, it's all just figuring out what I want my color scheme to be. Yeah. Yeah, definitely do look out as far... Yes, place your paint orders early. You are correct. It does get sucky in the wintertime if you're in a very cold climate. Gonna bring in more of my Lotus Orange mixed with a bit of my NMM Gold highlight to get that frill up there. And then with that lead in, maybe I can go and do some extreme stuff. These are actually horns, so they actually should be different. Foolish Anne! Wrong. No good. Take off, take off. It's alright. Right, when you pop a bright on this. Now, but see how I'm leading up to it, though. You know, I've added in some more intense greens, and I've added in some more intense oranges here, and I may bring these up more. But then, when you add in the super orange, it's going to pop big time. But I realized too late that this was a horn and not a gem, so we've got to be consistent in our color schemes. Now, the thing is, I want the gemstones to be pretty saturated. But at the same time, I want to make sure that the face of the dragon still stands out and attracts the eye. So this will be fun experiment to try to do. Oh, this horn has a break. I don't know if that's like natural. Probably it broke at some point. And again, I think I've got some grit here. I mean, you can clean up an oops any old way. You can wait for it to dry and just paint over it. That's the easiest way. But if you're fast with your brush, just throw some water on it. Pull it off. And there are times when I'm trying to be fast with my brush, but I haven't been fast enough. I mean, it's no big deal. Then I just paint over it. That's the beauty of acrylics. You don't have to sweat it. If you painted a color that you don't like, paint over it. This is a very pale, delicate color scheme compared to a lot of stuff I usually do. I think I'm going to like it. I also got some ideas on where to go next with Figurehead Pirate Girl, so expect her to show up later this week. Alright, so we'll just keep him with one broken horn, that's fine. And I might want a little bit more dark there. I wonder if I can mix some Ancient Oak in here. I might not be able to mix it in, but I might use it for a liner. Yeah, I mean, it should, I mean, if it ships, even if it ships in April, that shouldn't be too bad. Paint needs to be, like, left out to freeze. Like, it's not going to freeze just because it ends up on your porch for, like, half an hour. It's more likely to freeze if it, like, ends up all day on your porch in Sub-Zero. And it still depends on its position inside the box and how cold it's been in shipping. So, did a little bit of Ancient Oak, but I'm probably going to have to bring that darker. Alright, let's do this. Let's just go with some crazy. Crazy. I have no idea how I want these to look eventually, so I'm just gonna like do a bunch of yellow and orange. Probably gonna just plop in a bunch of yellow and then throw a bunch of orange in between it. And this is a lot like I started the rock troll, if you guys remember. I just pretty much plopped colors on and did kind of a almost a wash outline-y thing. And then I can come in with more glazes and highlights. I want some gems to be mostly orange. I want some to be a mixture of yellow and orange. I want some to be mostly yellow. I am doing a more saturated tone right now with these, and I'll probably knock that back. As I add shadows and highlights, this is going to get less bright, just like with the rock troll. And I may decide that I need to paint over the top of that. I don't know if this model is going to be translucent Daffodwear. I don't remember what the last call was. Kiwi saddle. Yeah, well, the thing is, Nomad Z, because it also, if it's in transit in a cold environment, like if it's on a truck, and the truck gets left in, you know, a lot over the weekend, then, yeah, exactly. COVID, of course, is going to affect things, since it does put a longer shipping time on stuff. It may sit, as long as it's not sitting in a truck. If it's sitting in a warehouse, at least, it's usually not going to be freezing in that warehouse. But it depends. Depends on where you are. Sledding skeletons. That's pretty awesome. See, and I'm kind of against that. I'm not a big fan of translucent bones, but I can see why Reaper made that call. And really, you just need to probably, you know, you just need to base coat it to get away from the translucency, of course. They paint up just fine. I mean, paint sticks to them fine. Pretty. I think it's pretty. I think I need more of a vibrant green up top on his crest. Let's see here. I want a little bit more yellow. Yeah, in freight container compartments, it does get pretty cold. Yeah, Wisconsin weather is pretty... I mean, having grown up there, I totally feel you there. The hand of disapproval, yes. That was Daryl. Daryl sculpted all this. Yeah, just put down an opaque gray base coat. Thanks, Dragon Eye. Yeah, I want to do something different, right? Different than I've been doing. It's the same reason I started with Rocket Girl, getting her so saturated. And now I'm going very delicate with these. I haven't done greens for a long time. And so I do really love my leaf wood green. And I like these Pathfinder greens. So I was like, let's just have some fun. So I want a little bit more saturated green here now. A little bit more. Ah, yeah. Oh yeah, stuff's gonna freeze in a truck up north. Absolutely, Miss Imp. I mean, that's why paint freezes a lot. I mean, it's when we're shipping to like the Rockies or Canada that we get a lot of frozen stuff. And so I do recommend, like, snowy, like if the weather's in the 30s, I don't think you're really in danger. So like right now is not a bad time to order up paint for the winter. But if you're getting sub-zero anywhere, if you live like up on the top of the world or the absolute bottom of the world, then wait for your most climate friendly time of year to order big paint orders. Just trying to get some of these yellows and oranges back here. And again, I may bring in some more saturated yellow and orange in the future on these guys. And we're going to change a lot on this. This is being just a blocked in kind of base coat because I want to cover the primer. And I am going to do these like traditional gems, but Mostly right now I'm testing a color scheme to see if it'll work. And I'm so far very pleased with how it's looking. I do like it. Doing the back of the head, but I think I also want to maybe do a little weird thing and put a line, a little bit of a shadow of this ancient oak in there too. Although I do kind of like how it's going from green out to the oranges, even on his scales. So maybe I won't. Maybe I won't put a line there. Or if I do put a line there, maybe I'll do it with a brown instead. A brown probably makes more sense. Let's grab our brown liner. Yeah, there's some serious cold there. There's a reason I don't live in Wisconsin anymore, and the cold is a large part of it. Other than, being allergic to most of the state. I know I had brown liner out here. Where did I stuff it? There it is. Question. What's the difference in style performance between the regular MSP and the Pathfinder? The Pathfinder are the same. I mean, it's Pathfinder. I mean, okay, if somebody's saying the Pathfinder are latex, it's because we are, latex is a weird word. Most paints have, in the old days, latex paints were a thing. Nowadays, they use synthetic polymers that resemble latex. So, and we probably still call those latex paints. The Pathfinder line is built with a lot of the same technologies that all of our other Reaper lines are built with. You can use them the same way. As I was saying, many of them are built with very bonesy technology. Pardon me, I dropped my water. But they do also have a lot of beautiful transparent colors in them. You use them the same as regular MSP. They mix just the same with MSP. They have no problems mixing with MSP. They are, we did the line for them. This is the thing with all Reaper licensed lines. No, there really isn't a difference. But I will say that as far as transparency and opacity, the most important thing with the Pathfinder line was to nail the colors. One second, guys. No, it's not going to work. Let me try this. Yeah, there we go. The most important thing with Pathfinder was to nail the colors because they gave me specific swatches. And so some colors ended up naturally more transparent and some ended up very opaque. So I would say that there is a large difference in transparency and opacity with the Pathfinder colors, whereas the bones are more consistent that way. It's more akin to core sometimes. But the technologies, we utilized all of our different levels of paint technology to make the Pathfinder line. It should be, it's in line with Master Series. Sand lobster. Nova Scotia. Yeah, definitely sand lobster. Canadian painters represent. Yeah, Jill. No, don't overthink it. If Reaper made it, it's all compatible and you use it the same way as you use any MSP. Same with, we make secret weapon paints. And there are some beautiful colors in there, too. And cool kind of special effects paints. A to all the Canadians. I like getting a multinational audience. It gives us good perspectives. That's why I used to hang out on I follow Overwatch, for those of you who, didn't know, but I used to hang out on Overwatch Discords of some of the pro players because they're really multinational and you get some very interesting discussions going on about things like medical care and, education and, things like that, social programs and, unemployment. And it's really interesting to get different cultures and different nationalities takes on different stuff because not everybody, the U.S. is weird in a lot of ways. I like to get the perspective. Yeah, I like a lot of the Pathfinder. Well, obviously, you guys have seen me use a lot of these Pathfinder colors recently, right? So, today we're doing a mixture of Medusa, but we're still using Lycosirian sand, which I've been waiting to use for ages. So I think I'm going to bring this a little bit more in. I'm going to grab some of my brown liner, mix it with my little orangey thing. Get a little bit of a transition here. Gotta be careful with some of these colors because they're a bit delicate. And the minute you add a little bit of black to them, you really mute them out. So when you're doing things like this, where you're adding brown liner to something as vibrant as that Lotus Orange, you know it's going to drop in vibrancy very fast. So you got to kind of minimize that mix. Hi, Kiri. What's up? You had an explosion earlier. I'm sure you're fine. Do I have to put on the AC? Is little dog getting warm? Hold on. There. Let's see. No, the AC says it's still nice in here, Kier. It puts the lie to you. Yeah. Yep, no AC. We've got the window open and it's really nice outside, but she probably just wants to go out and see David because he's on his meetings and she's wondering where he is. Everybody asked that, Sales, and the answer is, are you trying to just kind of get a sampler of MSP? In which case I would say get the starter set. The starter set is only 11 colors, but it's got the standard colors in it. So, you know, it's got some very, very useful, what I consider very useful tones. In fact, some of the colors that are my go-tos. And you get a black, you get a white, you get 2 metallics, you get, you know, a skin tone and purple and red and all of it. You know, you get a lot to experiment with. Then you can cherry pick your favorite colors from there. Like, I always, I definitely have a set of go-to colors that I prefer. And so for people who are on a budget, I usually will recommend get the starter set, try the paint. If you like the paint, you know, you probably have an idea what you think are pretty colors, so then you can just start expanding it. I mean, almost the best way to do it if you're on a budget is to just expand it project by project, right? Like if you decide that you want to paint Mr. Gem Dragon here, you know, figure out like 5 or 6 new colors that you want to work with that'll help you expand your current selection and go with it. Otherwise, if you want to dump just a bunch of money like for Christmas, I would say, ooh, hold on. Chat is moving. Gotta catch up here. All right. There we go. I've got you there, Sales. All right. I mean, if you're looking to drop something on, say, a 54 color set, which we do, you know, then I say pick up the first Bones. So Bones 9401 through 9454. That I really feel like the Bones line is the best line I've ever done as far as just being a self-contained line that has some wonderful colors in it and a lot of utility. So you could do that and then round out from there. That would be with Core, because Core has a lot of color variety, so you can pick up some colors you really think are pretty out of Core and then utilize them with Bones. The exceptions there are that I always tell people that pure white is the best white ever made by any company on earth that I have yet encountered, and so no matter what other white you may have and use, get this one. Just my 2 cents. Alrighty. You've got both starter sets. By starter sets, do you mean the Learn to Paint kits? Because that's different from the starter paint set. Whew. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to catch up on the scrolling the chat thing. Have I ever used golden Liquitex acrylics? Dylan, I'm reading your question. For painting miniatures. No. I would say that I've heard that the golden Liquitex liquid acrylics are similar to miniatures paints. In fact, I cannot prove this, but I think they took the idea from us. I'm pretty sure they took the idea from Hobby Paint. It's fine. I mean, just thin it. The problem is, Dylan, that the Liquitex liquid acrylics aren't going to have some of the additives that we have to make them a nicer finish, like a more matte finish, and also to give them flow properties. So I would want to probably doctor them with 2 Reaper products. One of them is the anti-shine additive. You need only a tiny bit of this. It is very strong and it is very thick. So do add a few drops of water to it here and there and stir it up or shake it up. I usually stir it with a toothpick because it is thick until I can get it to the point where it shakes well. But this stuff is similar to what we use to matte all of our paints. It's a very, very fine level of flattener agent. so that with the thing with miniatures painting is you don't want any gloss, you don't want any shine, you don't want a satin finish, you don't want dead matte either, but you want just like an eggshell. You want to step up from dead matte so that all of the details show up, because otherwise if anything is shiny or has a shine to it, it's going to really impact on how many details you can, subtleties and details that you're trying to bring out. If this dragon had any shine on it at all, the subtleties of the colors that I'm putting in here and some of the tiny sharp details that I may put in with time are going to be impacted. You're not going to see them as well. You always want like a very close to matte finish. Real matte, not just, I know artist supplies, I come from a 2D art background. A lot of stuff they call matte is actually more of a satin, but you don't want that. You don't, not for these guys. So you could use them, but I doctor them with anti-shine additive, and I would doctor them, I don't have the bottle right here, but with flow improver. You could use Reaper flow improver, or you could use, Kiri, what are you doing? My doglet is being restless. Or you could use, I like Winsor & Newton flow improver myself, if I'm going to use an art product. But you could, I'm sure Liquitex has a flow improver. I just don't, I don't historically like it quite as much as Winsor & Newton. I'm not sure what its best stability is. But yeah, so you could do that. But yeah, you need the flow improver for leveling and suspension, because traditional artist paints, even fluid acrylics, aren't meant to be thinned to the level that we thin stuff in miniature painting for like blending and layering. Most of those paints will fall out of solution when you get to that level, or they will have you'll really see the pigment problem, because they may have loaded pigment in at the level they're expected to be used, but they don't expect you to thin them 1 to 2 paint to water, and then when you do that, you realize that you don't have much color left at all. So your mileage may vary, bottom line. One second. And now I'm going to catch up there. Hold on, I'm catching up. Let's see here. Got it. Give me a second. Everybody look at the pretty dragon while I catch up on chat.
Also, as a reminder, Miss Anne, since I kind of finished up what I was doing, it is 1:08.
Oh, geez, it is. Dang. Okay, well, let me get through the rest of the questions here. Here we go, Scrying Eye. I noticed I said, on the subject of special effects paints, what can we use for grit to make our own corrosion type paint? Honestly, you'd want to use something really fine, like super fine sand or super fine flock, Scrying Eye. I don't really like... some people have used baking soda, but you can get some weird effects with that. Like After Effects you don't want. Yeah, it's just something, you want something really fine. You don't want much texture at all. I mean, you can use actual pigments, like powder pigments, and use them with a solvent, although it's not, my favorite thing. I honestly tend, if I want a texture, I just tend to use green stuff in the areas I want it, and otherwise I suggest it with paint, if it's really fine. Yeah, I like the watercolor style too, Chibi. It's different, right? That's what we like. So yeah, there you go. So sales department, you got both starter sets plus the hobby box. So yeah, if you're talking learn a paint kit, then that's not the actual paint starter set, but it is a really good setup. Those colors are a really good setup to start you out. So at that point, I would just cherry pick. Cherry pick colors that you don't have that you like. You can always mix stuff. And the brighter a paint, the more versatile it is with mixing. Remind that. And remember that. The more muted out or grayed out a paint, the less versatile it is. Let's see here. Oh, decorative sand from IKEA. Yeah, super fine sand, like they used to put in like smoking things back when, I guess people still smoke, which is weird. But yeah, this dragon's head is really cool. Yeah. Yeah, Miss Imp. I've heard though, Miss Imp, if you like spray seal or something like that, the baking soda can react. So you gotta watch it. Okay, yeah, the LTPK kits. Yeah, those are good. Those are a pretty good start. They're just like, across the two of them, you get a decent selection. You're missing some stuff like a real vibrant dark blue and, stuff like that, but... I'm catching up. Yes, Kariniko, pure white. Join the cult of... yeah. Oh, my Discord is Patreon only, Miss Imp, but... But yeah, Scrying Eye, there is a Discord if you are on my Patreon. Okay, trying to catch up. Ah, you guys, you're so chatty. I love it. Mocha Raid. Oh, Black NMM. Yeah, Black NMM. It is what it is. You keep a lot of it black. That's the base. It sounds fun, but it's really just regular NMM that's really dark. All right, good. Yes, and thank you for the plug. I actually haven't mentioned my Patreon. Working on a black and white PDF right now for the $5 tier, talking about the various blacks and whites in the Reaper colors, ranges, and what the difference is, because I get that question all the time. So, all right, guys. Yeah, Justin points out we've gone long because I've been having too much fun. Thank you for making this a fun morning. I'm not streaming on my own personal channel this afternoon, but I will be tomorrow. Today we have Miniature Monday with Josh at 3 p.m. Central, I believe. Am I correct, Justin?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So yeah, maybe we'll work more on this guy tomorrow. I think I'm going to preserve my palette since all these are mixed colors almost. And we can continue on Mr. Pastel Dragon tomorrow and see what we can do. All right. Thanks, guys. Who are we rating, Justin?
Well, let's see here.
People said Mocha was doing Black NMM, but
let's see if she's live. Yes, she is.
Do we want to do Mocha, guys? Let's just hit Mocha with a raid. Mocha? Yeah, we'll hit Mocha with a raid, and then we'll do somebody else tomorrow. Okay, guys, have a fun day. I hope you have a great time. Adios.
Thank you guys very much. As always, you guys are the best, and you're the reason why we do this. So keep being awesome, and we will talk to you later today for Josh's stream. See ya.